This stupid thing. There we go. Hey everyone, Chris, Midlife Crisis Media here. Almost said the old name. Oh, luckily I caught myself. With part 1 of 2 when it comes to my Nintendo Wii collection for these Video Game Collection 2023 live streams. What is up, Peter? Second commercial. And now we're in the stream. Yeah, part 1 of 2. I don't have a huge Wii collection. I had a really big one for a while, and I'll talk about why, and I don't anymore in a few minutes. So before we get into anything, 4 reasons why I'm doing these streams. 1, it's fun. 2, get to talk to awesome people. 3, it's good content for the channel. And 4, it's good to have a visual record of everything in the collection just in case there is a tragedy of sorts. And well, if that's out of the way, what is my history with the Wii? So the Wii came out after the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. And those streams, when it came to those consoles, I said that I waited about a year to pick any of them up. It was probably exactly a year. I had a lot of disposable income at the time, so I basically bought those back to back. I bought the 360, and then like less than a month later, I bought the PS3 because, like I said, I had a bunch of disposable income, so I had the money to do so. No, I did not, Peter. Sorry to disappoint. But the thing was, I had bought a Wii already. The Wii came out like almost a year after the PS3 and the 360. And the talk and the hype of it was so huge at that point. It was one of those consoles where I'm like, yeah, I usually don't buy a console like right away when it comes out, but I was actually seriously considering it because the whole motion control thing and the way the games were being designed sounded really interesting to me. And I was like, I might actually want to have this right off the bat. Well, didn't quite happen that way because there were shortages. Nintendo always seems to have shortages of all of its new consoles when they come out. And this thing was super popular from the get-go. Like, you could not find it anywhere. And I went out looking a couple of times, although it wasn't like day one. I was like, I'm not going to bother on day one. Maybe I'll wait a week or two. And I did, couldn't find them anywhere. They're just always sold out. So I kind of said, well, I guess I am waiting my whole year to get one of these damn things. What's up, VGM? So I figured I was going to wait a year to get a Wii because it was so hard to get off the bat. So I want to say this is probably like a month before I got a couple of weeks before I got my 360. So I'm at the local Best Buy, not even thinking about getting a Wii at this point. I was at the local Best Buy, actually like looking at the movies, looking at the CDs, looking at the video games and all that. And I'm in the video game section. And one of the employee comes up to me and he sees me standing there and he goes, "Excuse me, sir, are you interested in purchasing a Wii?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess." And he goes, "Just want to let you know we're going to be getting a shipment in this, like, I think it was a Sunday." He goes, "This Sunday. And we're giving out like these," it wasn't like a ticket. It was like a reservation for a spot in line to possibly get one. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he goes, "Would you like one?" I said, "Yes, please." So he gave me this one. He goes, "Be here. Like the store is going to open at this time. We recommend that you get here at 2 hours early." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you for letting me know. This is great." So I get there like 2 hours early, and I want to say I was like the 6th or 7th person in line. But by the time the store opened, that line was like 250 people long. Like, this is an outdoor strip mall that this Best Buy was in, and that line went across multiple storefronts. That's how long it was. And I was at the kind of the front. So they're like, everybody had like a randomized number, I guess, is what they were handing out. I had a pretty low number, but I was like, oh, this isn't really going to matter. They're going to draw numbers out of like some sort of a generator or a bowl or whatever. And they pulled out of the first batch of numbers. I wasn't in the first batch of people to go in. And they're like, "Just want to let you guys know that we only have like, I think it was like 25 or 30 Wiis to go around. So like, there's going to be people that aren't going to get any today." And boos, of course, come from the crowd. And in the second batch of people, they called my number. So I went in and I'm like, well, what do I get? Well, I want the console, obviously. And I knew it came with a game. It came with Wii Sports, but I was like, maybe I should get some other games. So I ended up purchasing or grabbing a copy of Raving Rabbids, the first one, and Red Steel. Because I love first-person shooters, and I was curious how a first-person shooter with these new controls was going to play. So I'm like, this is great. So got the console, got the 2 games. I don't think I bought any extra peripherals or anything off the bat. I think it was just like the console and the 2 games, and I was like, I'm good. I wasn't going to be like super greedy and try to get everything that was there. I was like, I'll just keep it simple because there's still no guarantee that I'm going to like this, and I'm pretty sure that if I didn't like it, just like with my Nintendo 64, I could probably sell it to somebody and get maybe more than it's worth because it's so hard to get these damn things. So I was like, just keep it simple. Let's go. Bring it home, hook it up. First thing I did was play Wii Sports because it came with the console. And usually the pack-in games back then, we don't get them anymore, usually are pretty good, especially from Nintendo. So I booted up and holy crap, just playing Wii bowling on that Wii Sports game. I was like, yep, this thing's staying here. This is good. This is so good. So good, in fact, that my parents came upstairs because I was still living at home at the time. I was getting ready to actually move out on my own because of the extra money that I had. And they came upstairs and were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I just bought this new Nintendo console." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, really." I'm like, "My money, I do what I want with it." I'm like, "I'm a friggin' adult. Shut up." You're like, stop doing the whole, like, you're a teenager, stop spending your money crap. So my dad's watching me play this bowling thing, and my parents were both avid bowlers when I was a kid. So my dad's like, "Can I try that?" And I was like, "Oh, what happened? Oh, I can't believe you spent your money on that." And he's like, "Just let me try it." I'm like, "All right, fine." So he does it like 2 or 3 times. The next thing you know, he's like, "Hey, honey, come up here." My mom comes up and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "You want to bowl?" And she's like, "What?" And he does the whole motion thing. And she's like, "I want to so bad." So Next thing you know, they're addicted to it, and they're coming into my room all the time asking if they can go bowling. And I was like, well, maybe you should just go out and get a Wii of your own, because I'm not going to be here for much longer, so you're going to be SOL to get your fix. So that's exactly what they did. They ended up going out and buying a Wii at some point. They bought the black Wii. It was like the second version. And I ended up getting games for them for Christmas every year that they had one, because it was an easy Christmas purchase for me for them, because I'm like, my mom likes to dance. I bought her all the Just Dance games. My dad likes RPGs and stuff like that. I kept on buying him RPGs and like GoldenEye at one point. So I was really digging it. However, I was not big on the Raving Rabbids game or Red Steel. Red Steel I thought controlled like shit. It was cool having a gun in one hand and a sword in the other for a first-person shooter, but I just did not like the way the game controlled. Raving Rabbids was basically just a bunch of mini games. I'm like, this kind of sucks. I'm going to play a mini game thing. It's definitely going to be Wii Sports, because that's where it's at. And that's basically all I played at the beginning was Wii Sports. Eventually, I started getting a bigger collection together, and I was kind of like an up and down thing with me. Like, I would like, the new game would come out that I would really like, and I'd be like, this console is awesome. And then another game would come out that I would be excited about, and it would suck because of the controls. And I'd be like, this console is shit. And I would go back and forth and back and forth. And finally, after I think it was 2 years of having it, I gave up on it. So I was just getting ready to move from my old apartment to this current one, and I needed some money to pay, to do the down payment for the apartment. And I ended up selling it and all of my games to someone at work who was like dying to get a hold of one, because even 2 years later, it was still kind of hard to get a Wii in some places. Remember, it was still kind of hard out here. So he was like, yeah, he's like, do you use it a lot? I'm like, I use it a fair amount. I mean, I haven't like beaten it up or anything like that. And he's like, okay. And I told him all the games I had. He's like, cool, I'll take them all. And I got like $600-700 out of the guy or whatever it was, or maybe 800. I can't remember, but it was a lot. And I was like happy, and I did not want one again. At one point when I just started to think about getting back into collecting, I was kicking myself for this, because my dad had died and my mother didn't want to play her Wii anymore, the one that they had bought. So like right before I got back into collecting, my mom's like, you know that Wii that I have? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, do you want it? And I'm like, no, I'm never going to play that thing. I hate it. And she's like, okay. And she ended up just giving it to one of my brother's friends. And then like 5 months later, I decided to get back into collecting. And I was like, I could have had a Wii and a decent collection already. And like, I'm so mad at myself right now, So I made the decision, like, okay, I started buying Wii games right when I got back into collecting, because I was like, okay, I do want the ones that I enjoyed, at least. But since I gave up on it after 2 years, there was how many years of games coming out for this thing at that point? So, like, we're talking end of 2013, and the console came out in 2007, I think. So I'm like, how many good games are actually out there that I never got a chance to play? The last game that I bought was Metroid Prime 3, and then I sold the console. So I tell my mom, I'm like, did you give away? I didn't realize that she had given away that Wii of hers yet. I'm like, hey, Mom, did you give away that Wii to anybody? You still have it? And she's like, no, I gave it away to your brother's friend, Melissa. I was like, God damn it. And she's like, why, do you want one? I'm like, well, yeah, I'm kind of getting back into doing the video game collecting thing that I was doing like years and years ago. And I was like, a Wii is an easy console to collect for. I was hoping I could just get yours. And she's like, no. But my cousin in Ohio had just gotten a PlayStation 3 as a gift. I think it was for his birthday or something. And he had a Wii before that. And basically he got the PS3 and he was like, what's this Wii thing? What is that? I don't even know that exists anymore. So my mom called my cousin and she's like, does Angelo still play his Wii? My cousin Kathy's like, no. And she goes, can I buy it off of you? Because I'm going to give it to Chris as a Christmas gift. And she's like, I'm assuming so. And she's like, does he have any games? And she goes, he has a lot of games. So she goes, how about I buy the whole thing off of you as a gift for Chris? And my cousin Kathy's like, $50? And my mom's like, my mom doesn't know anything about game prices and all that, but he had like 50, probably maybe like 60 games still in the pack, still in the cases, and the manuals and the discs were in good condition. 60 games and the console and this peripheral I'm looking at right now. And she got it off of him for $50 because he just wanted to buy a new game for his PS3. That's all he cared about. So my mom, we went to visit our cousins in Ohio for, I think it was Thanksgiving. And my mom bought it off of him. and kept it until Christmas and gave it to me as a Christmas gift. And I was like, instant boom to my collection. All of a sudden, I have like 60 Wii games. Only problem was, since he was a kid, a lot of it was that shovelware crap. And I was at the beginning, I was like, I just want to get as many games into my collection as I possibly can. I don't care what kind they are. I just want to have a big collection. That's all I was thinking about, was have a huge collection. And then, like, after a while, I'm like, I am never going to play 2/3 of these games that I got off of my cousin. It was like Hotel for Dogs and like carnival games and all this other shovelware garbage. I'm like, I'm never going to play any of this. So I went through what I had, and I basically took a lot of it out and brought it straight to the half-price books and traded it in. And all of a sudden, my collection went, but it was more focused. There's games that I actually do want to play and do want to have in my collection. There's still a few more I want to get, but they're kind of pricey. But the sad thing was, all the stuff that I sold to half-price books, I basically got pennies for, because, like I said, it was all shovelware crap that wasn't worth $1. So I remember a couple of them, the guy told me, like, we'll give you 10 cents for a couple of these. And I was like, ooh, your mom is sneaky. Yeah, she is. Well, that's the thing. My cousins are very, very wealthy. And it's like they don't really pay attention to the prices of things. And they were definitely not paying attention to how much video game stuff was going for. All my cousin cared about was, like I said, he just wanted a new game for his PS3. And he was just like, well, $50 get me a new game? I'll take it. Because this stuff was dead to him at this point, so he didn't even care. They could have just thrown it in the trash, and he probably wouldn't have cared. Which is, I think, what the plan was. Or give it to, like, Goodwill or something. But I still have the Wii that I got from my cousin that my mother bought for me. I was not going to dig it out. It is buried in my closet under a bunch of other gaming things. And it's going to create a huge mess, and I don't want to have to worry about it. But one of the peripherals that I got from him, still in the box... and this is the exact same one that I got, and that is the Wii Zapper. So it is not the Wiimote and the nunchuck. It is this holder for them that is in a gun shape, and it comes with Link's crossbow training inside, which is in one of those little digipack paper holder things. And it's a decent game, but it is essentially just like shovel. It's Nintendo branded shovelware just to show off, how to use this as a gun peripheral. But when you're playing light gun games on this console, which is one of the reasons why I like it so much now, is because it lets me play light gun games on my HD television and not a CRT, and I can't use any of the ones for the previous consoles. This is pretty awesome. So I was super happy that they had this. And I kept the box and everything. It's all in there. Of course, I was going to keep the box. Collecting. You can see it's even still in the cellophane. Every time I use it, I put it back in here with the cellophane on. And here's the Link's crossbow training. I wish this came in a regular DVD package, because then I could put it on the shelf. But this is the one that I keep elsewhere because it looks stupid on my shelf. But it's kind of dusty because it's been sitting up there for a while. I have not had my Wii plugged in since I got my Wii U. The Wii U was backwards compatible. You could play Wii games. It even had like the interface that you would have, like the desktop that a Wii has. It has that as a separate thing on it. So I was using my Wii U as my Wii. So this was the one that I got for my cousin is kind of obsolete at this point, but I kept it because why not? But eventually, like when I got back into collecting and I started finding all these new games that I was never exposed to once I sold off the console, I was like, I was kind of a dumbass. I should have just kept this damn thing, even though it did help me get my current apartment. But I was like, there were so many cool games that I missed out on because a couple of them that I was playing were kind of meh. So the collectability. So I'm happy that I have it now. I honestly should play this more often than I do, but like I said, the original Wii is in the closet, buried underneath a whole bunch of other gaming stuff. My Wii U has been packed away because it's the Switch took its place. I should probably take my Wii U out because I hear like the battery for the control pad could possibly go bad if it isn't used in a while. So I need to plug that in and see if it still works and see if I need to replace it. But like I said, I have a decent collection of stuff that I actually want to have in the collection that I will actually play at some point. Got rid of all that shovelware crap that I wasn't interested in anymore. So we'll start off with something that is kind of shovelware, but I got this for $1 at GameStop, and I like the idea of it, so I said, why the hell not? And that is this Agatha Christie, and then there were none. It's essentially like an interactive novel. What do they call them? Like an interactive novel. I guess that's what the genre is. And you're basically playing through the Agatha Christie book in like a visual novel. Sorry, there you go, visual novel. Playing through it, making selections, choices, using a cursor to pick out things in the backgrounds of shots and stuff like that. So for $1 at GameStop, I was like, I don't care. I got this when they were like clearancing out all of the Wii stuff. And the only stuff that was left was all of that shovelware stuff. And this is the only one that kind of stuck out to me as something I might actually want to play. Because I do like Agatha Christie stories and all that. So I said, why not? This, I do believe, is like the first Wii game I bought when I got back into collecting. I found this at that Half Price Books that first day when I took all those movies and other games that I didn't want anymore to the Half Price Books and sold it, got a few $100s worth of credit, and then ended up buying all the video games that they basically had in the joint. And that is Alien Syndrome. This is an update, a 3D update of the arcade game by Sega. I do believe this came out on the PS2 also, but I found it for the Wii at the beginning, so I'm keeping it for the Wii. And it's okay. It could have been a hell of a lot better. It probably is better on the PS2 or the 360 or whatever the hell other console it's on because, motion controls. I'm still not a huge fan of the motion controls. I think a lot of it is used really gimmicky stuff. It's a gimmick for most of the part. So there's very few games that actually use it as a gameplay element. Mostly, I like it for the light gun stuff, like I've said. But a lot of times it's like waggle your hand back and forth like you're flogging the bishop for no reason at all other than the fact that you can do that. So it's like a lot of the times it's kind of crappy the way it's implemented. We'll talk about a light gun game. We have Attack of the Movies 3D. That's actually supposed to come with a pair of 3D glasses, but mine did not because I got this on the secondhand market. But yeah, like I said, this is a light gun game where you're going through a bunch of parodies of big Hollywood movies like Pirates of the Caribbean and Jaws and stuff like that, and Independence Day. So, light gun game, I say hells to the yes. The Nintendo game was classic. Which one are you talking about? The Alien Syndrome on the NES? Oh, the one by Tengen? Or Tengen? Yeah. Pick this one up at that $1 sale at GameStop also, because I just thought this was funny and I did not know how this was going to work. But we have Balls of Fury. This is a licensed game based on a movie that was all about competitive ping pong, and Christopher Walken is the main villain in the movie. And I was just like, I have to have a video game. How many video games are out there based on a movie that Christopher Walken was in? None that I can think of. So when I saw this sitting there, I was like, is that what I think it is? I pull it off the shelf, and the first thing I see is Christopher Walken. I'm like, I don't care if this game is good. I don't care at all. I don't care if the movie it's based on is good. I've never seen it. I'm buying this because Christopher goddamn Walken, hey! And it is essentially just like a comedic ping pong game, and I don't care. I still haven't played it, but I'm just happy to have a game that has Christopher Walken on the front. Yeah, I love those unlicensed carts that Tengen was making. It feels like a hack. It's like playing the Rockstars. What is it called? The Rockstars Ping Pong or whatever it's called for the Xbox 360. But now you're just using your Wiimote to slap it around. This one is awesome because this is developed by one of my favorite game developers. I made a short about this a couple of weeks ago. It's Batman the Brave and the Bold video game. This was developed by WayForward, one of my favorite developers ever. And I've played through the Nintendo DS version of this game, which is essentially a beat 'em up based on the cartoon. And as the game progresses, you start unlocking more DC Universe characters, and you get to play as them in certain stages. Some are definitely better than others. This follows the same suit, but this one, obviously, the graphics and the play control and everything else is a hell of a lot better. But it's essentially the same style of game, but this one has a lot more platforming going on in it. But it is super fun and awesome. I highly recommend you pick a copy of this up for either the DS or the Wii. They are both fantastic games. And you can hook so this always made me laugh. Control Batmite, which is this little goofy, chibi Batman character you see sitting there. In the Wii U version by linking it with the Nintendo DS version. Is there a connector for the Wii U to let you connect for the Wii to let you connect your DS to it? Because if so, I need to get that just so I can have that character. That is nuts. I still have not done that. I still haven't watched The Brave and the Bold, but the new Batman movie that's coming out that isn't the Robert Pattinson one, like the one that's actually going to be part of the new DC universe of films, is going to be called Batman Brave and the Bold. So we have these two games, which of all people was developed by Steven freaking Spielberg, and that is Boom Blocks. There's Boom Blocks and Boom Blocks Bash Party. So it's like reverse Tetris and kind of like Jenga, where you have like a stack of blocks, you need to knock them all down. The only one that really shows that happening is like right here. So it's a little bit of Jenga, a little bit of like Angry Birds and stuff. But Steven Spielberg came up with the idea for the game, and then EA ran with it and made the games. They're okay. Nothing special, but they're entertaining, especially if you're having a party. That's kind of something real easy to pick up and play and get going. This one just, I think, got a re-release on the modern consoles, and I know that Limited Run Games released a new version of this. But we're talking the remake of A Boy and His Blob, and this one too is made by Way Forward. So I really enjoy the Nintendo and the Game Boy and His Blob games. So when I found out, this was one of the games I missed out on not having a Wii during those years. When I found out that there was a remake of it, I was like, holy crap, I need that like right now. And picked up a copy. But the guy I bought this from off of Amazon tried to scam me. So I buy it. It was a pretty decent price. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it because this was like pretty early on in my collecting. I remember I ordered it. He had a picture of it, which is one of the reasons why I bought it, because usually it's just like a description of what the disc condition is, if there's a manual or a box, or if it's just disc only. The guy's like, it's complete, has the manual and the artwork and everything, and he had a picture of it. And I was like, okay, fine. I see it. I want it. Send it to me. I paid for it. And when it arrived, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there's something wrong with this artwork. Like, why is it so, like, faded? And it wasn't, like, faded. It just looked odd. So I, like, get real close, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, this is like a reprint cover. This is, like, something that he printed on his home printer, and it wasn't even on, like, the glossy paper that they normally use. It was, like, on regular old, like, letter-size printer paper, and that was why it looked weird to me, because it wasn't, like, glossy. And I contacted the guy. I'm like, hey, in the picture you showed the game, and it did not have this artwork in it. I'm like, I want the artwork, not this reproduction crap that you printed out. And if not, give me my money back. And the guy goes, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I had that in there. I usually just keep it in there to keep the original artwork safe, so it doesn't get ruined. And I put he's like, all the games on my shelf have like reproduction artwork on them so I don't damage it. I'm like, sure. Send it to me. And then he sent it to me. And when it showed up, it was kind of water damaged on the back, which is why I think he sent me the reproduction artwork to cover up the fact that he forgot to mention that it was a little bit of water. I mean, it's not bad, but it's like a little water damage, and that's why he sent me the reproduction artwork, and I caught it. So got this artwork, and I was like, hey, and by the way, while you're at it, send me a few bucks back for this damaged artwork. And he's like, okay, give me your PayPal address. So, yeah, but it's a fun game. It's a definite improvement over the NES version. It plays extremely well. All the same mechanics are there. It's just great. It's like cartoony graphics that are kind of like the way Ni no Kuni is by Studio Ghibli. It kind of has like that really cool anime art style to it. I like it a lot. I now have a lot of games in this franchise on other consoles, and this is Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. This is the director's cut. So these are like point-and-click PC adventure games, and they're actually pretty fun. The only thing is, there are so many of these games in this franchise that I don't know where to start. So I don't know what the first one is. It's probably just called Broken Sword. I mean, that would be logical, would not? But I have so many of them now, and there's a version of this, I think, available on the Game Boy Advance, which blows my freaking mind. There's a point-and-click adventure game on the Game Boy Advance. But then again, there's one on the Lynx, too. Not a Broken Sword game, but like a point-and-click adventure game. That's that Dracula game. And it's done with really cool, like, animation, like cartoony graphics, so definitely wanted to get this. And I've been going out of my way to try to find some of them too. When I go out in game hunting, I usually try to see if there's any Broken Sword games I don't have in my collection already. So the director's cut has Play as French journalist Nico in all new scenes, 2-player co-op mode, and a hint system for puzzles and sleuthing. So if you get stuck, you have a way out. Those look super fun. I need to play those. Here's one that I do believe is kind of pricey. I got this at a GameStop. When I got back into collecting, it was like right as the Wii U was coming out and like the Wii was dying. So someone just texted me. The Wii was dying, or the Wii was starting to die. So I could go into a GameStop or any shop basically and just buy Wii games dirt cheap. And even the ones that were like more sought after were still pretty damn cheap. They weren't like, they were like $25 and under kind of thing. I never, like back in like 2013, 2014, 2015, I never paid more than 20, 25, maybe even $30 for a Wii game. Now, like there's a whole bunch that are expensive as hell, like this. Calling, I found this at GameStop for like $15, and I was like, I can see all of these Japanese horror, like ghost story horror games jumping up in price, because I do believe the Ju-on game at that point was pretty expensive. I don't have that, still don't. It's one that I'm actually looking for. But it is like playing The Grudge or, The Ring. It's a Japanese ghost story horror survival game. And I have not spent a whole lot of time playing it, but just experienced 4 unique characters' perspectives in a gripping story of Japanese survival horror. Have you seen The Black Page? I don't know, have you? But when I saw this at that GameStop, I immediately picked it up because I'm like, I'm guaranteeing in the future that thing's probably going to be something that's sought after, and I kind of thought I ended up being right. Next up, we have, this is a first game, one of the first games I got. I got this at that half-price books, and that is Castle of Shikigami. This franchise goes under I don't know how many goddamn names. There's Castle of Shikigami, there's Mobile Light Force, there's just Shikigami Castle. But these are essentially vertically scrolling bullet hell shooters, shmups. And they are super, super fun. There's a whole bunch of different characters to choose from. Each of them has like the pattern of their normal attacks is different, or they have like a different weapon that they use for the attacking, and then their super attack is in a different pattern from the others. And it's really, really super fun. I played this when I first got it, and I was like, okay, or when I first got that Wii, I was like, okay, now this I can get behind. And this is one of the reasons why I got back into shmups, or I got into shmups, because I really wasn't into them back in the day all that much. So I played this, and I was like, this is hard as hell because of the whole bullet hell nature of it. But the different characters and the different like patterns to the attacks and all that, I was like, this is really, really fun. I wonder how many more games are out there like this. And sure enough, I started looking for them and finding a whole bunch out there. So I credit this for getting me into shmups. And then the Wii was also home to a lot of really strange spin-offs to other games, like existing franchise games, like Castlevania Judgment. Castlevania was a 2D side-scrolling action sort of beat-em-up. Eventually it turned into like a 3D version of that. And then there was the Metroidvania version of that, where it's like a lot of backtracking and all that. But for the Wii, we got a one-on-one fighting game. What? And the manual to this thing, this case is so heavy because this manual is so goddamn thick. I don't understand. It's because a lot of it's in French. But yeah, it's a one-on-one fighting game with like all the characters that you associate with Castlevania and a few new ones too. You got like, you got Trevor, you got Simon, you got Alucard, you've got oh god, what was the name of the girl from the third game that you pick up? Oh, I can't remember their names now. It's been so long. The girl from Rondo of Blood, the little girl. A bunch of the enemies. It's nuts. Like, I never in a million years thought that I would be able to play a Castlevania one-on-one fighting game. But the weird thing is, I mean, it's not great. It could have been a hell of a lot better, but it's not bad. It's actually, like, kind of cool that it exists as an oddity. And I can't help but not like it because I love fighting games. And the only thing is, you really need to use a dedicated, like, control pad to play this. Because playing it with the Wii Mote sideways it's a no-go. It is not fun. Playing it with like a GameCube, like if you have the original Wii that has like the GameCube ports on the top, that's the one you want to use. That's what you want. Yeah, that's what you want to play this. Otherwise, it's eh. That manual gives that one NES game a run for its money. Then we have this franchise, which I completely missed out on, and that is the Conduit from Sega. There's two of them, and I have the limited edition, well, the special edition and the limited edition of each one. So the original Conduit special edition, what's so special about it? Unlockable secret agent multiplayer skin, unique all-seeing eye device with custom detailing, exclusive concept art book with development insights into the world of the Conduit. So what is this game? It's a first-person shooter. So therefore, I should immediately be like, yes. Only problem is, I got this as one of my games for the Super Neighbor Brothers podcast, the Backlog Roulette that we do. And I was like really excited because I'm like, okay, a first-person shooter on the Wii. Out of all the games that I have played on the console, I don't think I'd actually played a first-person shooter yet. So I was really excited. My Wii U was hooked up. I'm like, here we go. There's a freaking fruit fly like right in my face. And I hated the controls. The controls were impossible to get used to. Everything you had to do to move and to sidestep and to shoot and to reload and all that, it was just really unintuitive, and it really ruined the game for me. So I only played it for like 2 days, and I eventually gave up because the controls got in the way of being able to actually play the game. Kind of like the way I was complaining about Red Steel earlier. It made the game not fun. It looks pretty good for a Wii U or a Wii era first-person shooter, but I was not a fan. But I do like the metallic artwork. You really can't tell, but it has like metallic artwork on the front and the back. You can kind of see it more on the back than the front. So I was not a big fan, but I hear the second one is better. This is the limited edition. This one also has metallic artwork. It's probably easier to see on the back. Yeah, like with the Godzilla creature being shot. I have not played this one because I never beat the first one. But the limited edition comes with unlockable Gold Destroyer armor, unlockable Eye of Ra ASC, whatever that means, and exclusive Conduit 2 Art of the Game 44-page art book. Is that actually still in here? It is. Pretty cool. Another first-person shooter. Like I said, I hear this one is better. I'll eventually get around to playing it. You can see it looks pretty cool. Jason of Corpse Blood Gaming said he actually played the Conduit, and he said he had some problems with it too, with the controls, but he ended up beating it. I'm like, of course you did. You are a whiz when it comes to video games. I am not. I love video games. Never said I was any good at them. 44 exclusive pages of art. This is a game I did not know existed. I don't remember where I found this. I think it was on eBay or something. But Cruisin'. Oh, no. I think I got this at Half Price Books. I did not know that Nintendo or Midway had made a port of like the Cruisin' games for the Wii. So when I saw it sitting there, I was like, oh, yeah, you're coming with me because I remember the arcade game being pretty cool. And it's like a basic. I mean, it's better than what the arcade was because when that came out, it was the freaking 90s. So obviously polygon graphics were not up to snuff just yet. This plays just like the arcade game, but it's got a few more bells and whistles, and obviously the graphics have been given an upgrade. But it's the same old Cruisin' you remember, just with a new coat of paint on it. I got this dirt cheap, I remember that. And then we have this. I've bought this game twice, and this one is the limited edition Steelbook edition. So one of the first games I picked up at that half-price books when I sold all those games and movies at the beginning when I said I was going to get back into collecting was this, but it was the standard version, and that is Cursed Mountain. This is a survival horror game that is not as much as Resident Evil as it is like Silent Hill because you control the character more like if you were in a Silent Hill game. And you're looking for your daughter who's lost. I think it's your daughter or your brother in Tibet. They got lost, and you come across like this monastery where there's like demons lurking within. I love that artwork though too. That like Tibetan monk that's like a demon. That's pretty awesome. The artwork on the back is pretty dark, so you really can't see what's going on. But like I said, for what I have played of this, it is pretty cool. Controls. A little weird. Like I said, Wiimote, the whole motion control thing. Sometimes it's good in certain games. Sometimes it isn't. I even like the inner artwork where it's like he's trekking through the Tibetan mountains. where the main character is. Comes with the manual it's called the Climber's Log, but it also comes with, I do believe that is a soundtrack. Or no, it is a DVD. Cursed Mountain, the making of video. So it comes with a second disc that is a DVD. Recommended if you're into survival horror games. It's a very strange, unique one. I remember Game Grumps was playing it, and they were like whining about it. I was like, you got to realize the era that this game came out, dude. I'm like, oh, you can't really judge it by the way like the Resident Evil 2 remake is. The scariest Wii case I've ever seen. Yeah, I love that. Great artwork. This one took me a lot of doing to get. I ended up getting like my it wasn't my tax refund. It was my annual bonus from work, and I ended up saying like I'm going to get a couple of expensive games that I normally wouldn't be able to buy with it, especially ones that I've been looking for a while. And one of them was the Data East Arcade Classics Collection. This has how many? 75 goals and unlockable rewards. 15 classic games in this jam-packed collection. And it's got Burger King. Yeah. Burger Time, Magical Drop 3, which I loved. And I always thought that was an SNK game, but Data East, okay. Street Hoop, whatever. Crude Buster, Wizard Fire, Bad Dudes, the original Bad Dudes. Side Pocket, Lock and Chase, Caveman Ninja, which is Joe and Mac. Express Raider, Burnin' Rubber, Peter Pepper's Ice Cream Factory, which is a sequel to Burger Time. Heavy Barrel, and Secret Agent. And that's pretty freaking rad. I wanted this for so long. It was like on my want list or my wish list on Amazon for the longest freaking time. And then finally I said, you know what? You got the money right now. Just get it while you can before it jumps up even more in price. And that's exactly what I did. Next up, we've got one that I saw on Amazon when I got back into collecting because I would sit at work on my lunch break and just I would type in a console. Like I would type in like Nintendo Wii games as the search on Amazon. And then I would just go through the list and whatever would catch my eye, I'd be like, add it to the wish list, add it to the wish list, add it to the wish list. And I saw the artwork for this and I was like, no, that looks like shovelware. And then I saw the Game Grumps playing this and they did like a one-off. They weren't going to like beat the whole game. They're like, we've got all these weird oddities. We'll play it for one stream, and if it's good and we like it a lot, we'll just keep on going. But they never went forward with it. But I was watching, I was like, this looks super cool. Then I went back and added it to my wish list, and that is Deadly Creatures. So I was looking at that, I was like, that's some shovelware crap. Big spider, big snake, ooh. And then you realize that you end up playing as a spider and a snake. Or sorry, a spider and sometimes no, is it just a spider? Enter a hostile world as you take control of two of the desert's most dangerous creatures, the stealthy tarantula and the venomous scorpion. Yeah, the scorpion was the other one. And you like end up switching between them. And the weird thing is, as you're playing the game, you're like crawling through like underbrush and like sometimes there's like skeletons of animals and stuff like that, trying to move along your path. But there's like these two human characters that are just always off to the side, kind of like where you are, talking to themselves, and you get the story through listening to them talk. And one of them is Billy Bob Thornton. It was the weirdest thing. So like you're hearing about like all the stuff that doesn't even tell you what the story is. Fights for survival against fierce predators as you unearth the sinister tale of greed buried in the... Yeah, they're treasure hunters, and you hear them talking about locations they're going to go, who they've killed to get information and whatnot. And it's just kind of like secondhand stuff. You're just hearing in the backgrounds. And every once in a while, you'll see like, if you're walking through like a bunch of dead like tumbleweeds or whatever, bushes, you can see them through the bushes, like little parts of them, but all you just hear is them talking mostly. It is the weirdest thing, but I thought it was presented pretty well. So I played it when I first got it, and I was like, you know what, it's not too bad. It takes a little while to get used to the fighting aspect, like when you're playing as the tarantula and the scorpion, but it's unique, and I really like it. So here is another weird spin-off of an existing game from a franchise that is not on this console other than this. That is Dead Rising Shop Till You Drop. This is a light gun game in the Dead Rising universe. There's no other Dead Rising games on this console. They were at the time exclusive to the Xbox 360. So to have a light gun game where you're, of zombies, shooting zombies and stuff, that is pretty rad. So naturally, I gravitated towards this because I can play these types of games on my modern television. That is awesome. And we have another franchise that is not on this console, but the weird spinoff is, and that's Dead Space Extraction. No other Dead Space games on this console, but we got this, which is, you guessed it, a light gun game. And it's basically a side story to the original Dead Space games. I think this takes place between parts 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. I don't remember. But yeah, you're going through another ship that's been infected with the Pillar's corruption, and it's surprisingly fun. The thing is, if you have... No, it came out between Dead Space 1 and 2, because on Dead Space 2, the limited edition that came out for the PS3, at least, I don't know on the PS3, I don't think it happened on the PS... Yeah, it was the PS3 only. There's a download on the disc to get a free copy of this game because you can use the move controls to play it. Isn't there a light gun Dead Space game? Yes, there is. Had to get these two. These eventually came out for other consoles, but I think at the beginning these were Wii exclusives, but now there's even like remasters for them on the PS4. But it's the D-Blob games. I haven't played these too much, but it kind of reminds me of like the way Splatoon works, where it's like you're reintroducing color to the world kind of thing, kind of like Mario Sunshine-ish a little bit, where you have to like add color to the drab world. But I haven't really spent a whole lot of time playing these, so I can't really comment. And then this one I got at Half Price Books. I remember that. And then Felix the Brett saw my usual like end of week post of the games I've added to my collection. He's like, that one is kind of hard to find. And I was like, I got it at Half Price Books. It wasn't too hard for me. But apparently this is like an uncommon game, and that is Dewey's Adventure. And it's a like 3D platformer from Konami with this little character that's made out of water. And this one has stupid motion control BS. You gotta do like the shake. You gotta do like, looks like you do like a back and forth. You have to do like a roll, and then you do like a side to side. I'm probably gonna get demonetized for my hand movements. So you're welcome, internet. Don't make a meme out of it. To get your character to do certain things. Showa. Next up we have... shit. So this is one of those Wii Motion gimmick bullshits that Nintendo made, and that is Donkey Kong Barrel Blast. And you can see down there, shake a, shake a, shake a. And to do certain things, you need to make certain movements, and you can see right there all the different things you need to do. I have not played this because I don't want to simulate masturbation in order to play this game, because that looks freaking ridiculous. But it looks like Donkey Kong's got some barrels strapped to his chest that act like a rocket pack, and you have to control him as he flies through the air. And this is a heavy game too, because look at this manual. God damn. But whatever. Squirt, squirt, skeet, skeet, skeet. Don't Dewey like more. No. That's Donkey Kong skeet, skeet, skeet. And then we have Donkey Kong Country Returns. I got this off of a Facebook group, I do believe. And it's going back to the roots of Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo, but with modern graphics, or modern for when the Wii came out. So it's a side-scrolling thing, and not like Donkey Kong 64 where it was in 3D. And this was not developed by Rare, because Rare had been bought by Microsoft at this point. This was developed by Retro Software, whatever they're called, the people who made the Metroid Prime games. So as you can see, it is a side-scrolling. It went back to what the original Donkey Kong Country games were, but it's not as good as said Donkey Kong Country classic games. Peter can talk about that. This one is still sealed. I got this in that... I've talked about it for multiple consoles. It was like the PSP, the PlayStation 2. I think that was it. There was like this one seller on Amazon when I got back into collecting, who was like selling a whole bunch of games for a penny. And this was one of the games I got for a penny. And that is Dragon Blade Wrath of Fire. And all I knew was that, excuse me, that you have the power of a dragon. You're like a flamethrower, and you can shoot dragon stuff out of your hands. So I was just kind of like, yeah, sure. It sounds like a decent beat 'em up kind of game. And you can see the weird motion control things you have to do right there. But doing the whole twister thing, like doing like a nipple twist thing, does not look fun. But I haven't played it because it's still sealed. That's how I know that's one of those games, because I never opened any of them, I don't think. I could talk about it most of the night. I believe you. I believe you. Here's another weird spin-off. This one doesn't have a manual, though. I'm sad. I don't remember where I got this, though. It might have been at a half-price books or something. But this is another weird spin-off. I don't think there was any other games released in this franchise, even though it is on a lot of the Nintendo consoles. Or at least it started off on the Nintendo consoles. But it's Dragon Quest Swords. And it has a stupid subtitle. The Masked Queen and the Tower of Mirrors. Whatever. So what it is like a first-person game, and the Wiimote is a sword. And you have a lot of first-person sword fights. And I've tried it out because I have a bunch of games that do a similar thing to this. I think I have 2 other games that do similar things. And some of them are better than others. This is one of the better ones. This one actually controls, and it's kind of fun. But yeah, all it really is like moving on from one sword fight to the next on your quest. So nothing really crazy going on in it, but it works. That's all I can give it. This was recommended to me by my buddy, or my friend Elizabeth. And that is Elabits. I still have not spent a whole lot of time playing it outside of making sure that it actually worked. But you're controlling these little characters that are like made out of electricity, if I remember correctly. They can run, but they can't hide for long. Elabits are small, cute, electricity-generating creatures. One day, a sudden lightning storm strikes, and the Elabits begin to act strangely and go into hiding. It's up to you and your trusty capture gun to search anywhere and everywhere to capture them all. Hide, seek, and destroy. And she said that she had a real good time playing this one. So when I brought up the fact that I had picked up a copy of it, she was like, that one I remember liking quite a bit. So you're going to have a lot of fun with it. The only thing was I've never actually sat down to actually play it all that much outside of testing it out. And then there's another game in this series, another one with a really thick-ass manual for like no reason whatsoever. But this isn't really a game so much as it is like something to use to relax and wind down after like a long stressful day at work, actually. And that is Endless Ocean. I do believe this is the first one, because on the spine all it says is Endless Ocean. But all it really is like an underwater diving game, and you're like just going around, swimming around, looking at sights. Only thing is, for someone like me, this is not the thing you want to use at the end of the day where it's been a stressful day at work. This is the thing that I would bring home. I would come home from work and play and stress the hell out because I am deathly afraid of the ocean. But Nintendo made this, and I think one other game in this franchise, I think it was called like something Blue in the subtitle. I can't remember. I should probably look for it just so I can complete the subset. But this is something that would freak me the hell out because I would be pissing my pants playing it, but I'd probably play it anyway because got to face them fears. I play a lot of other games where you're underwater, so. Here's another light gun game, and that is Escape from Bug Island. I got this, I remember, dirt cheap at the beginning of collecting, and it's basically what it is. You're running around shooting giant bugs that are coming at you. Sure, why not? Love my first person, or my light gun games. Whoo! Okay, so this is a franchise I did not realize was part of another franchise. I remember it's spun off of a franchise that began on the NES and I thought stayed on the NES. Guess not. Nintendo resurrected it for the Wii, not once but twice. So we're talking about Excite Truck. I never thought that this was a sequel to Excite Bike. So I had this in my collection for I don't know how long. This is one of the first games I added to my collection when I got back into collecting at that half-price books. And like it never occurred to me the Excite part of it was part of Excite Bike. And I was like, okay. It's a 3D racing game, behind the car, your typical racing game, but it's a little more like extreme arcadey. It's nothing like playing Excite Bike at all. But it looked super fun, so I picked it up. And I do believe Metal Jesus talked about it in one of his videos. And then there was another game after that in the series, and that is Excite Bots Trick Racing. And that is more of the same kind of point of view, but there's just more to it, and you're playing as like these robots that can transform, I do believe. and he uses the steering wheel attachment. What's up, Mondane? It's been a while, brah. How's it going? Welcome. So I don't know how many games are in this franchise on this console, but this is the only one I have. That is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles: The Crystal Bearer. So I do believe this is a sequel to the Crystal Chronicles game that came out on the GameCube. I do believe, but have not played it because RPG, and those take time, and time is something I don't have. You can load MP3s onto the SD card and listen to them in the truck game. Oh, tell me more. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I was thinking about hooking my Wii U up and like playing some of these games again because I've been meaning to, and I might just do that, Mundane. Thank you for that. This one, so a long time ago, I brought it up in another video. I think it was the PlayStation 2 streams that Jason from Corpse Flood Gaming got one of his giant tubs of video games as a tip from delivering pizzas in Canada. And like there was we're talking like big. It was a lot of heavy hitters in this big ass tub that he got. And he had all the games, basically all the good games in there he already owned in his collection. So he talked to me in church and he's like, hey, if there's anything in this tub that you want, let me know. And I was like, oh man, I would love to get this that I'm holding. And he's like, well, it's not complete. He's like, it's the game and the manual in a case, but it has no artwork. And I was like, I'll take it. I'll figure something out because otherwise I'm never going to find this game because it's super freaking expensive. So he sent it to me basically in exchange for some things I was getting for him and things I had bought for him previously. So it was kind of like we did like a trade, and that is Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. So like I said, it was just the case, the disc, and the manual. And I ended up, like the day that this arrived, I was like, I should check eBay to see if like someone is just selling the artwork, and lo and behold, there was, and it was not expensive. It was like $10, and it is the real deal artwork. It is not some like thing that my Boy and His Blob came in. This is like the real deal. And I was like, oh my god, I was able to complete that so easily. Why can't everything be this easy and cheap? I got the game basically for free, and I paid $10 for the artwork, and that was that. And it is a strategy RPG or tactical RPG in this long-ass franchise. I need to start playing some of these at some point. I have a couple of them, I do believe. I have one for the 3DS, I know that, and that. I think that's it. I think that is it. Next up, we have another game by Nintendo, but this is another one of their team-ups with Square Enix. So it's not Super Mario RPG 2. I wish. But I remember I went to that one out-of-the-way half-price books that I talk about a lot. That's in like the rich area, and I found this there when I was out with some friends, and I was like, I have never heard of this. I've not seen it in any of the searches I've been doing like on Amazon and eBay. Where did this come from, and what the hell is it? And just because of that, I was like, I need to have it. It was like $20 or something, or $25. That is Fortune Street. So it's kind of like a board game where you play as not only Nintendo brand characters, but characters from Square Enix games. Like you can see the Slime, you got Donkey Kong, Wario, characters from, Jesus, I can't even see half of these. Some characters I don't recognize, but I'm guaranteeing they're from either Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. But it's like a bunch of mini games, like a board game. And I was like, I don't care. I need to have this. It looks freaking awesome. Strike gold on Fortune Street. Play the market with Mario and friends in an all-new board game. A strategic property and investment video board game. Invest big to drive up prices and protect against takeovers. Play the stock market to earn a fortune. Now, that definitely like sounds something that takes full advantage of the Mario license. Monopoly. Had to have that because what? What? Surprisingly, we never got a sequel. I wonder why. Here is another survival horror. I do believe survival horror game. Got something. What the hell is that? Oh, I don't think I've played this though. And that is Fragile Dreams, Farewell, Ruins of the Moon. I remember I got this. So I talked about it, I do believe, in the 360 stream. God, what is this on my tongue? It's like leftover tortilla chip. where I had bought a bunch of games from a GameStop in my hometown, which is almost it's like a 45, 50-minute drive. And I bought like 6 or 7 games from this GameStop. The place was super busy. And the dude that was running the register was just this guy who was up there running his mouth, not paying attention to anything that was going on. Had to make sure that anyone who walked in the door, he stepped away from the register and welcomed them. Like, welcome to GameStop. My name is, Gary or whatever it is. Can I help you with anything? I'm like, bitch, just ring me up. Kind of thing. The line was like 7 people deep, and everyone just standing there going like, let's go. Because this guy was just taking a sweet-ass time, and he was like chatting up to the extreme every single person he was ringing up. It was ridiculous. I was like in line for almost a half an hour because of this idiot. And the problem was when I finally got up to him, he didn't put any of the discs in any of the cases that I bought. And I didn't even realize it. I remember he went looking, and I think he took the games out. Like he took them out of the drawer, but never actually put them in the case. So I drive all the way back to Chicago and go to put these on the shelf. And I'm like, why do I not hear the normal rattling of the discs? I open them all up, and there's no discs in there. So the next day I had to drive all the way back out there, waste my gas. The manager's there working the front register, and I'll like plop all these games down in front of him. And he's like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, so-and-so last night, would rather chat with every single customer that walked in the front door instead of actually like paying attention to what he was doing at the register. I'm surprised that they're like, did your register come up short last night? Because that's the kind of BS that was going on. He's like, no. I'm like, well, he wasn't paying any attention because he didn't put any of the games in my cases that I bought last night. I'm like, I had to drive all the way out here from freaking Chicago just so you could put the games in here. I'm like, give me my games. And the guy just goes, who was on last night? I'm like, I don't know, Gary or something. He goes, oh, that sounds like Gary. I was like, give me my shit. So like he put all the games in the cases, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, I drove all the way out here from Chicago. I'm like, at least give me a refund on one game. And he goes, you want a comic book? And it was like they're giving out like free Batman comics because one of the Batman games had just come out. He's like, you want a free comic book? And I was like, fuck, I'm never coming back here. And luckily that GameStop is now closed. But this was one of the games I bought that night. And I have not played it yet, but it looks like a survival horror game that's like kind of an animation style instead of like, I don't know, more of an animation style than anything else. I'll play it eventually. Like I said, anything Xseed, Axis, NIS America, or Atlas. If I saw it, I bought it because I always think that they're going to jump up in price. They usually do. And I got this there that night too at that GameStop, and that is Geometry Wars Galaxies. I like the little sparkly cover that it's got. It looks beautiful. But this is a twin-stick shooter that originally I played on the Xbox 360, and it never really had a physical release back then. It was like digital only. You got off the Xbox Live Shop, and then like it comes out on the Wii. Sure, why not? Nothing really crazy. Like I said, twin-stick shooter. This one, Radical Reggie kept on telling me I need to get, and I could never. It was this and another one. And I couldn't. This one was the one that was easy to find. The other one I'll probably be talking about next week is the one that was really hard for me to finally get a hold of, and I found it at another out-of-the-way half-price books. But this is Ghost Squad. This is another light gun game, but it's like not tactics, but it's like you're like a squad going in and taking buildings from terrorists and stuff. And he said it was fantastic, so I was like, okay, fine, and I found it pretty easily online. But the other one that he was recommending, I could never find. So that I got dirt freaking cheap. I think I got that for like $3. This one I bought. I never have seen this cartoon, but I looked at it and I was just kind of like, I wonder how that's going to work. I think I need to own it. And plus it's by Capcom. But it's a licensed game. It's Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. When I saw this at Half Price Books, I was like, I don't know. I've never played or seen the cartoon or anything, but I think I need to own this. Because how in the hell is that going to be a thing? This is before I played any of the, what do they call it? Like Phoenix Wright games and stuff like that. It's nothing like that. This is more like choose your own adventure from what I remember. Be the Birdman. Let men talk, take your mind, get struck by, I don't know, I can't read this. It's so tiny. Whatever. It looks like the cartoon and you just make choices. But whatever. Like I said, I've never seen the cartoon, so I don't know anything about the characters. You need to pay attention to the chat. Jeez, Peter, what are you doing? And because I like one thing I don't talk about very much on the channel is I love to cook. So there's a lot of these like games that focus on cooking. Not like I don't like the Cooking Mama stuff. That stuff's a little gimmicky to me. I used to watch the television show that this is based on all the time. So when I saw the game at Half Price Books, I was like, what the hell, I'll take it. And that's Hell's Kitchen, the Gordon Ramsay game. And it's basically like it's basically Cooking Mama, but you have Gordon Ramsay looking over your shoulder instead of the little anime woman. And he basically has you make all of his dishes with the with the motion controls. So, yay! It's probably not good. I don't think I've not played this at all. More than 35 authentic Chef Ramsay recipes. I highly doubt that. How do you make your mushroom duxelle in the Wii game? Your beef Wellington's gonna suck. Had to have this and this because, like I keep on saying, light gun games on modern televisions. Yes. So definitely had to get House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return. So these are slightly upgraded ports of House of the Dead 2 and 3. Had to have these because, come on, these are like some of the OGs. I played the crap out of the version of this that came out on the Saturn, or the first game on the Saturn. Loved it. So naturally, hells to the yeah. And then I had House of the Dead 3 on the Xbox, but since I can't play it, my Xbox light gun games on my television, this is the next best thing. And it works fantastically, which leads to House of the Dead Overkill. This is the one that I played with my friends, and I was not prepared for what I was about to experience, because this game is an experience. It is over the top, foul language, disgusting stuff going on. Some of the most shocking things I've ever seen in a game released on a Nintendo console. This was a Nintendo exclusive at first, like a timed exclusive. Eventually, it came out on the PS3, and you can use the Move controllers, and I have that version as well. But this game is nasty, like especially the big ending scene. But I want to go back to the womb. Like, that shit's icky. It's another light gun game, but it is absolute insanity. Like, I cannot believe this got released on the freaking Wii. Like Nintendo had Midway censor the original Mortal Kombat game because you have like cartoony characters ripping out cartoony hearts and ripping cartoony heads off and all that. But this got uncut. Okay. I'll take it, though. Haven't opened this one yet, but I got this with those games my cousin had when my mom bought the Wii for me from him. And like, he never played it. It's still sealed. I still haven't opened it up, so I can't tell you if it's any good or not. But I do believe this has a hidden game in it, like one of the old PC games. And that is Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. I do believe this has like Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis hidden in here as an unlockable. But it is a 3D Indiana Jones adventure game. So I'll play it eventually. I planned on, like a long time ago, doing a video about all the Indiana Jones games I have in my collection. And like I was going to do one on the James Bond games too, but I don't really do full-length videos anymore. Just the shorts. So had to have this because licensed game and because I'm absolutely terrified of this and where it takes place. But naturally I gravitate toward it, so I had to have it. That is Jaws Ultimate Predator. This is like some shovelware crap, but I don't know. Do you control? Yeah, you do. You control the shark in this too. So it's like the Jaws game that came out on the Xbox and the PS2. But I have not played this one yet because like I'm kind of scared to. It scares the shit out of me. I'm deathly afraid of the ocean and deathly afraid of sharks. So naturally I buy every single game that takes place underwater and has a shark in it. So this is a special game. I got this in a trade on Facebook. I don't remember. I think it was, I traded my Little Mac amiibo. I had a Little Mac in the package, like when it was first released. Like I ordered them off of Amazon like pretty early on, and it showed up like right as that first wave came in. And then I made the choice because I was having such a hard time finding some of the other ones because naturally my collector instincts were like, get them all. And I was like, I'm not stressing. I should not be stressing out over these little pieces of plastic and like having to get up at 6 a.m. so I can go and wait in line at a Target just to get in and get them before everyone else. Like, no, that's not going to happen. So I just said, you know what? Just get rid of all of them. And the ones that I knew were more expensive and more sought after, I ended up putting them up on Facebook. and someone made a trade for the Little Mac for the Kirby 20th Anniversary Dream Collection Special Edition. Comes in this big outer box. Here's the actual game. And this special edition comes with this 20th Anniversary Celebration book, which is like, let's celebrate our own creation, Kirby. Yay! And it's like hints for all the other games and stuff like that. Who to the Ray. And it has a CD soundtrack inside. So you got 2 discs. You got the game disc here, and you got the soundtrack here. And what this is a bunch of old Kirby games. So you got Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's Adventure, Kirby's Dream Land 2, Kirby Superstar, Kirby Dream Land 3, Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, and a Kirby's History thing, like a slideshow, and then new challenge stages. Where is my favorite Kirby's Dream Course? It is not on here. I fucking hate you. The original graphics and art content have been preserved in Kirby's Dream Collection Special Edition. I want Kirby's Dream Course. How dare you deny me that? But I have 2 of these games. I have Kirby's Dream Land and Kirby's Adventure. I don't have any of the other ones on the other consoles that they came out for. So this is a good way to get to play them without having to spend hundreds of dollars. Because for some reason, Kirby games, like, I don't even consider Kirby like a top tier character for Nintendo. But like the games that have Kirby in them like jump up in price like almost immediately after their release. Like, I don't get it. There's so many copies floating around out there, and like 6 months after a Kirby game comes out, it's already like doubled in price. I don't get it. That's why I don't have more Kirby games in my collection. Although this one was dirt cheap when I bought it. I got this for like $5. That is Kirby's Epic Yarn. This is like one of the first games I got for the Wii U when I got back into collecting. And everything is made up of yarn. Kirby is basically a little yarn circle with eyes. And you use you have like a yarn lasso, and you unravel things in order to like open up sections of the level and all that. It's really cool the way it works. This is like the first time I remember Nintendo trying some strange art style with one of their signature characters. Even though Nintendo doesn't make these games. It's what's the name of it? Game Freak or whatever? HAL Laboratories. Yeah, it's like one of the first times they experimented, because every Kirby game that came out after this on a major console had like some weird thing. Like there's the one where Kirby looks like he's made out of clay. There's the one where they did the Yoshi one where everything's made out of yarn. But like they really started experimenting with the look of things, and it works super well. It is super fun. Hell, I got there eventually. The other one that I found this at GameStop. I remember that, and it was like I think they re-released this. Because I remember the price of this was going for over $100 when I found it. And I went to GameStop and they had it sitting there for $60, which was like slightly more than original asking price. And I asked the guy, I'm like, why are you not selling this? Like, I probably would have kicked myself if the guy said, oh, you're right, the price is wrong. But I was like, how are you charging only $60 for this? And he said, oh, Nintendo did one of their things, which I assume means that they re-released it. And that is Kirby's Return to Dreamland. So this is essentially Kirby's Dream Land 4. And it's another platformer with Kirby, this time with motion control garbage. But it actually looked pretty fun. I hear it's a great game. I just have not sat down to play it yet. Okay. And then we have this. I got this at Game Dude in California when I was visiting my brother. And I was like, oh, if that's what I think it is, I'm like, I'm buying that because I don't think I'm ever going to be able to own the original PlayStation 1 version. I do believe this is a remake. I think so. I do believe. It doesn't say anything. Whatever. Klonoa. So I've always wanted to play this franchise. I do believe this is the first game in this series I've ever owned. And I don't know if it's a reboot or what, but if I remember correctly, it's just like a modern day remake of the original. Just uses some motion controls. And it's a platformer. And like Klonoa like grabs items and then like a balloon kind of thing, and he'll like throw it at the ground and makes him launch up in the air, and that's how he gets around. And it's super cool looking. I've always wanted to play this series because it looked really fun, but the PlayStation, there's 2 games on the PS1. They're super expensive, and I've never owned one. I should probably look into it, but I'm glad I have that because that's the only way I'm going to be able to play it. This one I got off of Amazon. I remember that, and it was in my wish list, and I finally pulled the trigger on it. And it is The Core Gang. It has a weird subtitle, Outvasion from Inner Earth. So it's like Journey to the Center of the Earth with like kid characters. And it looked really interesting. I really, really like the art style in this, and that was what attracted me to it when I saw it. And it just looks like a fun little 3D platformer. So I said, why the hell not solve or save the world from the Inner Earthmen? A gripping story full of eccentric characters and exciting adventures. Civilization is threatened by creatures not from outer space, but from deep in the bowels of the earth. Yeah. So had to pick that one up, and it was dirt cheap also. I think there's another game in this series too, but I got this because Metal Jesus talked about it in one of his Hidden Gems videos for the Wii. And it is called Koro Rinpa Marble Mania. So the way you play this is like, I don't know if you have ever played, there was that toy, at least when I was a little kid, there was this toy, and it was like a wooden maze, and there was a bunch of little holes, and you had a marble, and there was these knobs that would turn the maze. You could go side to side and back and forth, and you had to turn the knobs in order to get the marble to move through the maze without falling through one of the holes, and by moving it, it would move down the lanes and all that. That's what this is. So you put the Wiimote in the palm of your hand, and you have to balance it in the palm of your hand, and then you want the stage to turn to the side to make the marble move. You have to turn your hand to the side. You want it to move backwards, you got to pull your hand back, move your hand forward, move it like this. It's really crazy. And I saw Metal Jesus playing it in his video. I was like, that looks really, really fun, and kind of a fun use of the motion controls. It is really difficult to get how much you should move to make the ball move the amount that you want right. So it takes a lot of practice to get used to that. But outside of that, it's really fun. If there was one company that I will never complain about their use of motion controls, it's Hudson. They seem to be the people that, like, at least like when I started playing the Wii again after I got it in 2013, they're like the one company whose like use of the Wiimote's motion controls would be 90% of the time pretty freaking good and well thought out. So I don't have the outer box that this came in, but I do have the special edition version of it, and that is Legend of Zelda: The Skyward Sword, the one that just not too long ago got a remake on the Switch. And this is the one that would normally have come with the golden Wiimote and nunchuck in a big outer box, but I got this at the disc replay that I always talk about before they shut down. And it still comes with all the other stuff. So you've got, the game, you got a disc, and you've got a soundtrack sampler. And it's like Legend of Zelda Special Orchestra CD 25th anniversary CD Symphony. So you got the soundtrack and you've got the game disc. I should probably rip this soundtrack. And this is the one that, like, you either love it or you hate it. It's because of the motion controls and the way you have to do your attacking and all that kind of stuff. And I know a lot of people really hate it. A lot of people I know like it. Like, I know Captain Algebra really likes this one, but a lot of other people I know just cannot stand it and think it's like one of the worst Zeldas ever made, including the people at Game Grumps. I remember Aaron was playing this, and all he did was complain the entire time I was watching them stream it. But I always thought it looked pretty fun. So I ended up picking that up. And it was not cheap, but it was not expensive either. But the one that we all know is the best one is Twilight Princess. I mean, come on. So I bought this before I even had a Wii. So it was like right when this is a launch game for the Wii. And it also came out on the GameCube at the exact same time. So the thing was, I didn't buy the Wii right off the bat. I ended up getting it like a few weeks, like a couple of weeks or maybe 2 or 3 weeks after it came out. But the thing was, like right off the bat, I don't know if it was an error or something, but Circuit City, for some reason, within the first week of the Wii coming out, had put this on sale, like had discounted it. I don't know why. So I didn't have a Wii at the time. My buddy Justin didn't have a Wii at the time. We went to Circuit City and we each bought a copy because it was like already discounted by half for some reason. And we're like, let's go over there and get it before they realize the error and they fix it. And when we have to pay full price when we do get a Wii. And we both went over there and got it. And this is still my original copy. And it is a pretty fantastic 3D Zelda game. And I have not beaten it. I got, I don't know, maybe like within like the first, I think I played it for like 6 hours or something, and then I got stuck. Every time I play one of these Zelda games, like I've never beaten Ocarina of Time because I got stuck. I think I got soft locked in this graveyard scene and I couldn't progress any further. But this one I played for like 6 hours. I'm like, this is really cool. You know, when I finally did get my Wii. But like, I kept on buying new games for the Wii, so I was like, I'll play it later, and I just never went back to it, which is kind of a crime. But I do own it on multiple consoles. Skyward Sword was the one that made people mad because they made Link right-handed. I'm a lefty, and I don't give a shit. So I have every game in this franchise on the Nintendo DS, and I learned way late that there was another sequel available exclusively on the Wii, and this is another one. Look at this thick-ass manual. God damn. For what game this is, what? And it's Lost in Blue Shipwrecked. So it's like the whole Blue Lagoon thing. People get stranded on an island, and you have to make a home for yourself there and possibly try to get off the island. So this one has like survival aspect, but it's all done kind of like arcadey minigame style. It's okay. I think I'd rather play the DS games. But that was one I did not expect to have. This one was one of the first games I bought. I remember when I first discovered the exchange near me, or both of the exchanges near me. Oh, is there a game? There's a holy sh. I'll show you in a minute when I just found it here. When I first discovered the exchange near me, this was one of the games I bought there the first time I went. And when I also was like, Hudson knows what the hell they're doing. And we're talking Lost in Shadow. I think Metal Jesus talked about this in one of his videos too, like the hidden gem things. But the thing was, in the game, you play as this character who's trying to get to the top of this tower. He gets there because the villain, I can't remember what the villain had done. I don't remember if he kidnapped somebody or what, but you get to the top of this tower to fight this villain. He has this weapon that like separates you from your shadow. He basically kills you, but your shadow is separate from your body and your shadow lives. And you control your shadow, and you have to move the light in the stage in order to help your character traverse obstacles. So you'll be running along this. You have to play the game according to the rules of being a shadow. So if there's a shadow of a wall in front of you, you need to figure out a way to get around the wall. So that's when you start to control the perspective of the game to move the shadow around so you can get over it and stuff like that. It is really crazy puzzle platforming stuff, and I absolutely love that. I ended up like playing this for hours and hours and hours. Never actually beat it, but I thought it was so creative and a cool use of the motion controls, I couldn't put it down. And I was like, Metal Jesus, you're onto something. It is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite games on this console. So, absolute recommendation from me. And when I opened it up, I found this in there. And it's got a card in here still. I wonder if it still works. Is it a gift card? I don't know. I think it's a GameStop Powers Up reward card. Oh, yeah, so it ain't worth shit. Never mind. He effed up. At this point, he knew. He effed up. Here's another light gun game I absolutely had to own. I've been trying to find this forever. It was on my wish list on Amazon forever. And then when I went to visit Rocket Sauce and Captain Algebra, and I think it was when I was with Tiger Chainsaw, going around Wisconsin looking for games, I found this at Gaming Generations. And it was a little expensive, but I was like, I don't care. I just want to knock it off my list finally. That is the Mad Dog McCree Gunslinger Pack. So these are full motion video games that were available on the 3DO, I think for the most part, and I think PC. But they're like full motion video railgun shooters, or like, light gun games. It's like playing Lethal Enforcers, but it's in a Wild West setting. But it was like live action video that you shoot at. And playing that on my modern day television, hell yeah. This was one of the first games I bought for the console. I got this off of Amazon like for $2 or $3, brand new, and that was Mad World. I was trying to get all these Sega games, and I do believe that. Well, okay, somebody in the chat, I can't remember who it was, said that either this is a sequel to a game or there is a sequel to this game. I don't remember which one it was. I think this is a sequel to another game or whatever. Anyway, it's like a 3D beat 'em up, but it's all done in black and white, like cel-shaded graphics. But whenever you draw blood, the blood is red, and the blood flies flows very freely. It is all over the place. And I only played this briefly, and I thought it was pretty fantastic. But I was like, I got many more games to try out, and I was like, I'll come back to it. And I just haven't done it, but I need to because I remember it being pretty fun. Not Killer 13. Oh, gee, there's another game by Sega. Was it Anarchy Reigns? I think it was Anarchy Reigns. Like, this is related to Anarchy Reigns. Here's another one that's Hudson. And just like that Korra Rimpa game, this is Marble Saga Korra Rimpa. And this is another one where you need to put the Wiimote in the palm of your hand and maneuver it in order to adjust the X and Y and Z axis of the maze to get your little marble to move through it. But everything's a little crazier. Fun stuff. I really like it. Like I said, anything by Hudson on the Wii, I'll buy. Sin City? Yeah, that's it. Had to get this one. I think I found this at a GameStop. And it comes in a very strange colored case. But we got Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. For some reason, the one that's on the Wii U was like really, really expensive at the time that I bought this one. So I don't think anyone was paying attention to this. And when everyone was trying to get that Wii U version, I think it was only released for like a few weeks and then it got recalled or something. Or there's only limited quantities of it or something. I remember I went to Half Price or GameStop in that really expensive neighborhood, that really pricey neighborhood. And I remember finding this at GameStop and it was like dirt cheap. And I was like, okay, I'll take this. And then eventually I got that one for the Wii U. But it is a bunch of mini games based on Olympic events and you just play as Mario and Sonic. Yay. And other Mario and Sega or Nintendo and Sega characters. So I have the big version of this. So I bought this off of Amazon. I think it was close to when I got back into collecting. And this is the game that made me fall in love with this franchise. No question. I still think this is my favorite game in this series. And that is the Mario Kart Wii. So I think the first one I bought was Mario Kart DS. And I was playing it and I was like, yeah, this is okay. I don't see what the big deal is. That's fun. I mean, but whatever. And then I played this. And the reason it comes in this big-ass oversized box is because it comes with the steering wheel controller attachment. And you basically put the Wiimote in the center there, and then you calibrate it, and then you control your cart like a car by holding it, the steering wheel, and you actually drive. And you have like your brake and your gas. And it is super freaking fun. I played this so much. The amount that you see people still streaming like Mario Kart 8 on the Switch, I played this about that much. I played this like for months. And I remember my girlfriend at the time was constantly telling me, like, can we play one of the other games in the franchise when she came over? I'm like, nope. We're playing this. And it was my all-time favorite Mario game. It is so much fun. I'd like this more than Mario Kart 8. Here's the game itself. I'm surprised that the disc still has stuff to read on it. I'm surprised it not wear it out. It is a little dirty. Like I said, I played this for months. Awesome game. Awesome game. And it controls playing it with that Wii or that steering wheel attachment made it so much more fun and immersive. I absolutely loved it. And now we have Mario Super Sluggers. This is one of the games that my cousin had when my mother bought the Wii off of him. And did not surprise me because they are huge sports fans. I am not. But I always say that these arcadey Mario sports games are pretty fun, even though I've never played this one before. I decided to keep it because, sure, why not? And I played it for maybe 15 minutes. And I was like, yeah, it's a baseball game with Mario in it. Why not? It's all right. And it has a few mini games to play as well on the side. And then there's also Medal of Honor Vanguard. I have not played this one very much, but it's another first-person shooter in this franchise. I don't know if this one came out on any other console or not. They don't usually put like exclusive on the covers like Xbox was or Sony was doing at the time. So I don't remember. But I got this for my cousin as well. This was one of his games. Surprises me that my cousins actually bought this for him because like a lot of the games he had were like little kids games. And he was maybe like 13 or 14 at the time, maybe 12, 13, 14, around there. So like all he had were like little games that little 5-year-olds would play like I said, house or hotel for dogs and stuff like that. And then there's this. So I'm wondering if his dad bought this for himself to play. But as you can see, it's another World War II first-person shooter. I don't know how it controls, but what's up, Smash? How's it going? And then the last, well, this isn't the last. This is 2 more to go. Then we got Mercury Meltdown Revolution. I think Metal Jesus talked about this in another one of his videos, like the Hidden Gems videos or whatever. But it's similar to what I was talking about with those Koro Rimpa games, where you kind of have to put the controller in your palm of your hand. But this one, you're controlling like a little bead of mercury, and you're trying to collect other beads to make your bead bigger. So it's like a maze game. It's okay. I only played it briefly. And the last game I'm going to talk about today, I think, is another one that you're either going to love it or you hate it. I think it's okay. I'm like in between. And that's Metroid Other M. I know a lot of people that love this and a lot of people that absolutely hate this because it kind of changed up what a Metroid game is supposed to be, and actually gave Samus a voice. So instead of it being either a first-person shooter, I remember when everyone gave Metroid Prime crap for being a first-person shooter instead of a side-scroller. This one is kind of like a side-scroller quarter view. It's hard to describe. It changes perspectives. And during the cutscenes, Samus talks. And a lot of people do not like that for some reason. Like, everyone's got to be like Link. Everyone's got to be a silent protagonist. But yeah, this is kind of it's also like a beat 'em up a little bit, if I remember right. And the motion controls are also kind of strange. So I had a good time with what I have not beaten it. I had a good time playing it, what I have played of it. I don't think it's even close to being the best Metroid game. That's still Super Metroid to me. But I don't think it's trash. I don't think it's garbage like a lot of people complain about. I think it's okay. So that's that. I like it. I like it. I don't think it's crap, but I like it. And that's it. That's it for tonight. I'll be back next Thursday with part 2. It's kind of strange. I even said it when I pulled these off the shelf because I was like, okay, so we're going to stop in between the 2 Metroid games that I have. Crap. So I'll be back next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central for the second and final Wii live stream. I'll also be back tomorrow with another short. Tomorrow will be a film short, probably another review. I think it'll be the Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, I think. Anyway, I'll talk to you all next week, and then don't forget, 2 weeks from now, a week and a half from now, Dungeons & Dragons on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/statblock20. Mondane will be there. Seventh Tides of Flame. Oh, it's going to be part 9. Part 9. I just released part 8 on the channel on here. So yeah, Mondane will be there, and Church the Game Grinder will be there, and all my other friends will be there. It's going to be awesome. I've got some crazy stuff planned. The last one ended in kind of a crazy spot too. So it's going to be fun seeing how people deal with it. So check that out. I will talk to you all later. Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe out there. Chris from Midlife Crisis Media out. Boink.